Hello, and welcome to Childless Not by Choice. This podcast was created for and about the childless not by choice community on a global level. Before we get started, I would like to thank my sponsors and supporters. Thank you, Morgan Air Conditioning, Sales, Service, and Installation, serving Tampa, Florida, and the surrounding areas. Morgan Air Conditioning can be reached by calling 813-500-7765. That's 813-500-7765. Or their web address is www.morganair.net. That's www.morganair.net. Along with a stellar business reputation in the Tampa, Florida area, Morgan Air Conditioning is also known and well received for giving back to the community, whether it is back to school drives or donating services to the less fortunate. Thank you, Morgan Air Conditioning, for recognizing the vision of Childless Not by Choice and being a part of it. Next, I would like to thank Alba Digital Media for creating my website, www.childlessnotbychoice.net. That's www.childlessnotbychoice.net, and for producing this podcast. Alba Digital Media's clients include those who need website building and maintenance, as well as those like myself who require professional podcast editing. Their client base reflects many industries and levels of needs for professional assistance. To contact Alba Digital Media for your web building and podcast production needs, visit www.albadigitalmedia.com. That's www.albadigitalmedia.com. Thank you, Alba Digital Media, for making me look good and sound good. Finally, I would like to thank Devoted, the musical duo who created my theme music. Thank you, Devoted, for your beautiful music. Devoted has had the opportunity to sing and play in many countries. To contact Devoted for your music needs, visit devotedministries@gmail.com. That's devotedministries@gmail.com. And if you would like to become a one-time or ongoing sponsor, or if you would like to become a patron of Childless Not by Choice, please contact me at Sevilla@SevillaMorgan.com. That's Sevilla@SevillaMorgan.com for details. Now, on to the show. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Childless Not by Choice, where my mission is to recognize and speak to the broken hearts of childless not by choice women and men around the world. Sevilla Morgan here. I am spreading the great news that we can live a joyful, relevant, and fulfilled life, although we did not have the children we so wanted. Well, as we continue on here, I would like to thank my Patreon contributor. Patreon contributors are those who have taken an interest in my platform, whether they fit the childless not by choice demographic or not. They have decided to contribute a certain dollar amount on a regular basis to help fund my dream of creating awareness and conversation for the childless not by choice community globally. Click the Patreon link for details and to become a patron. And the Patreon link is right there in the show notes. It's patreon.com/childlessnotbychoice. And I want to thank Jordan Morgan for his continued patronage. Jordan has been a patron for quite some time now, and it is truly appreciated. Thanking you and wishing you all the best, Jordan Morgan. Well, before I continue on here, I wanted to let you know that a while back I wrote an email to Pew Research, because they're pretty much the only research. I mean, I do research in particular for a particular episode, but overall, my go-to research platform is Pew, because they are not funded by anyone. So they have no backing, and I tend to trust those who don't have anybody paying them to do research. And so I like using Pew Research. And then you guys also know, if you've listened to me for any amount of time, how it aggravates me that when research is being done for the childless, not by choice woman, and they consider a woman to be ages 15 to 44, a childbearing age woman. You guys know how much it drives me nuts that they're including a 15-year-old in that, or a 16 or 17-year-old, when they talk about women who are having trouble getting pregnant. Because I still want to know what a 15-year-old is doing trying to get pregnant or having trouble getting pregnant. So anyway, I wrote an email to Pew back, actually it was last month. I just never got around to letting you guys know what I found out by including it in an episode until now. But this is what I wrote, and then I'll tell you what they said. So I said, hello, Pew Research is my go-to for just about all of the research I conduct. I am a podcaster, and my subject matter is childlessness not by choice and infertility. I would like to know why in your statistics the age range for quote-unquote women attempting to get or stay pregnant is 15 to 44. Why would a 15-year-old be trying to get pregnant? Anything you can tell me to help and get better, anything you can tell me to help in getting better content out to my listeners would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Savella Morgan. So their response, almost immediately, let me see here. I sent the email at 4:53 p.m. on June 7th, and they responded at 5:23. So that was pretty good, right? So I got this response. Hi, Savella. Thank you for reaching out. Most of our data on U.S. fertility rates comes from the U.S. Census Bureau and the National Center for Health Statistics. The National Center for Health Statistics tracks the fertility rate of women ages 15 to 44 years old, which is the typical definition of childbearing age in a research context. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Kind regards, Haley. And I won't mention her last name. But I understand that in a nutshell, that the minute you start to get that visitor that we all hate, as soon as your visitor begins, you're quote unquote a woman, because you can have a child even at 15. We know that there are even 13-year-olds and even younger who have had children. I understand that. I totally get it. But I still don't think that, and I thank them for their prompt response, but I don't think that a 15-year-old should be included. I really don't. Not in research on women who are trying to get pregnant. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I understand what she's saying, but it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I responded to her when I saw that she had responded to me. And I said, Haley, thanks for your prompt response, and thank you for providing the background information as to where you obtained the data. Do you by any chance have contact information for anyone at the U.S. Census? Please advise. Thank you. And I'd never got a response. And I'm not surprised. She probably just felt like maybe she was going down a rabbit hole. She was going in a direction she did not want to go, that I would continue to take her someplace in some direction that, would have no end. And really, that's not what would have happened, because I don't have time for all of that. But I'm going to continue to try. I'm going to reach out to the U.S. Census and the Statistics Bureau and see what I can find out from them. And so I'll keep you guys posted as to what happens, what the outcome is. But at least I found a person behind Pew. I found a human existing behind Pew Research. And I still continue to love Pew Research, merely for the fact that I am subscribed to them, and I get information from them on different subject demographics and research and polls on all different types of subject matter. So I will continue to use Pew. There's no reason not to. I just don't like that 15-year-olds are included in the research. So anyway, that's that. Well, I wanted to try something a little different this time around. I am going to post this as a blog and as an episode, a podcast episode. And, tell me what you think about the idea. I think it's a pretty cool idea. But I want to try it out and see how it works out. So this is going to be a blog, the July blog. And then the next few months I have guest bloggers again. I actually have my admins. I have 6 admins. Thanking them so much because, everybody's got a life and everybody's got something going on, and it's summertime too. And so I just really appreciate what these wonderful ladies are doing. And one of them asked me, we have meetings, actually, you guys. We meet every 3 months or so. We try. And in this most recent meeting, one of them asked, what is it that you want from us? How can we help you? And that is when I knew for sure that I picked the right person, the person who asked that question, and the right people in general, the right 6 people. And I'm always very careful of who I ask to be an admin. And, so far, so good. It's just been really cool. And that really spoke to me when they wanted to know, what do you want, Sevilla? What's going to make things easier for you? And so over the next few months, and I'm always looking for guest bloggers. I mean, the only parameters are that you must be a childless, not by choice man or woman. And I would prefer if you were a member of the platform in some way, shape, or form. If you belong to the Facebook group, if you were a member over on the community group over on the website, childlessnotbychoice.net, or if you're on the supporters group, which is where the childless not by choice men are, as well as people who just generally have an interest in the platform. Wherever on the platform you find yourself, I would really appreciate it if you haven't written a guest blog yet. And even if you have and you want to do another one, I welcome them, because on the months when I get a guest blogger, then I don't have to write anything. I can. There's nothing wrong with posting more than one blog, but at least I know I have at least one per month, because that's my goal, is to have at least one blog post per month. So I have somebody set for the next few months, and I'm so grateful. It's my admins, and so you'll get to hear from them and see who they are. And I'm just really excited about that, how they stepped up to help me. I really appreciate you guys. I know you guys are listening. I really appreciate you. And yet I tell them that all the time. So anyway, here we go. It may seem that way, as I am using the possessive adjective to describe the fact that I am childless, that my life did not turn out the way I expected it would. But the more important issue is that human beings tend to blame each other for things we cannot control. My childlessness is not my fault. If you are a Bible reader, you may recall the story of the man with the shriveled or withered hand. The disciples asked Jesus if it was his parents' fault or his, why his hand was withered. And Jesus' answer was, it's nobody's fault. Be honest. Have you never wondered to yourself, what in the world did he or she do to deserve that? When you see something bad or horrible or horrific happen to someone, you may have even heard someone verbalize it as karma, or what goes around comes around. As human beings, we figure it's just payback, because as human beings, we've got to have an answer to everything. There's got to be a neat little box for every aspect of life. But isn't it possible that stuff just happens? Don't we live in a world where stuff really just happens? I believe we do. Yes, I believe to an extent that what goes around comes around. And the golden rule says that we should treat people the way we would want to be treated. But we all know that it rains on the just and the unjust. The difference, though, is how we manage the cards we have been dealt. In fact, having or obtaining the tools for managing the cards we have been dealt. I believe one of those tools for any problem or issue you or I have is community. I strongly believe that when we belong to a community of strong, positive people, we want to get better and not wallow in the self-pity of what happened to us or what did not happen for us. Community protects us from those who secretly or passive-aggressively nicely tell us that we did not pray hard enough for a child. Some of us are told not to give up even though we no longer have a uterus. Indeed, some are told so even when they were born without one. I especially like well, it was not meant to be. It's one of my favorites. It's right up there with, you should be happy you don't have kids. They're a lot of work. These are the same people who tell you that you don't have kids, so you wouldn't understand. And sometimes these remarks come from the lips of the same person. Be glad you don't have kids. They're a lot of work, and you wouldn't understand because you don't have kids. I mean, which one of us seems unhinged? Because unhinged, among other things, is what many childless women are called. And God forbid if we are also single. Then we are weird, overzealous with our nieces and nephews, lonely, clingy, needy, or mean. Society says that's why we did not get married or have children. We chose the career over the kid. Or as a friend of my mom once told her, I was too picky. Mind you, this woman couldn't pick me out of a crowd. She knew nothing about me. But she knew I was being too picky, and that is why I never married. Well, regardless of the cards we have been dealt, I believe we can all be weird, overzealous with the children in our lives, clingy, needy, picky, or mean. After all, we are human beings first, and none of us are what has happened to us or what did not happen for us, childless or not. So the next time your initial response is to blame someone for their condition, quote unquote, their quote unquote condition, do a quick self-check and remind yourself, it's not my fault, it's not your fault. Stuff happens. How we deal our cards is what sets us apart. So when you read the blog, now you can hear the blog, hear my voice reading it, however that goes. You get to hear me reading the blog. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Okay, I'll admit it was my podcast producer's idea. I love just tossing ideas around with him for future episodes. And so it was his idea. And I was like, wow, how cool is that? I love that. So I may do that in the future from time to time, because just getting to hear the voice of the writer is probably a cool thing, isn't it? Let me know what you think. But I continue to work on future episodes. The next episode is actually going to be, it's planned to be a live episode from Podcast Movement. And I'll tell you more about that during the episode, because it's going to be live from Podcast Movement. I'm so excited. And upcoming episodes that I'm working on right now, I'm going to be working on an episode with a wonderful woman who has a dog. She's trained her dog, and I don't know the type of dog it is. I have to ask her. It looks like I'm not going to guess, but it kind of looks like a mix between a poodle and something else, but she'll tell us, because we're going to be talking about dog therapy. So she's trained one of her dogs to be a therapy dog, and I just think it's the coolest thing. I had always thought so, and I never really thought about how, that would pertain to us. But as I stood there looking at her one day, it kept coming through my mind. You need to interview her. You need to interview her. And I'm like, how does that pertain to childlessness? And then it hit me. Many childless, not by choice women and men have what we call, I don't have a pet, but we tend to call them fur babies. And I believe thoroughly that pets are what, keeps the sanity of the childless, not by choice person. And so what better way to just prove that by having this wonderful woman on and talking about her therapy dog. So that's an upcoming episode. I'm also going to be interviewing another wonderful woman from Scotland who is childless, not by choice, and she actually recorded an album about her childlessness. How cool is that, right? So I'm going to be talking to her in an upcoming episode. And of course, I'm also working on the PTSD versus infertility episode based on the email that I got from the wonderful Dr. Christina. And what else am I working on? The episode for I'm looking at my list. I've already mentioned the episode from Podcast Movement. And I'm working on, I think I'm going to do this same thing that I'm doing now with this blog/podcast episode for the 5 stages of grief or childlessness. I'll explain more about that as we get into that. The 5 stages of childlessness. Isn't that cool? Well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the way I did this particular episode. Let me know your thoughts. On the next episode, I'm going to be reading a note that I got from a listener who went way back into the library to hear a particular episode and then send me a Facebook DM direct message to tell me all about it. I thought that was so timely, and I'll tell you why it was so timely on the next episode. But in the meantime, I hope that you're having a great whenever time this is that you're listening in. If you're having a tough time, remember you can always reach out to me. If you want to have a one-on-one conversation, just go to the shop page and sign up to talk to me, and I think it's a 25-minute session. But you can look on the shop page of the website for more information, for details, if you ever want to speak one-on-one, and we can commiserate and talk. I can give you some great tips on what to do, what not to do, and so feel free to reach out to me on the shop page, via the shop page, I should say. And, just take a tour of the website. There's all kinds of stuff going on over there. I try to keep it as fresh as possible. The community is there. And I think about a little less than 10% of the women that are in the Facebook group are over on the community site. So if you're not in the community yet, come on over, join the conversation. And if you are not subscribed to the monthly newsletter, subscribe to the monthly newsletter. This platform is an all-encompassing platform. That's the plan. It's the plan for you to come in and join the conversation in whatever way makes you comfortable. Some people are subscribed to the newsletter. They're on the Facebook page. They're on the community site. They listen to the podcast. They read the blogs. I want you to immerse yourself. If you are suffering mentally, emotionally, even maybe spiritually, physically, and you are childless, not by choice, and you don't know what to do, you are just at a loss, you need to come in and immerse yourself in the community. You will not regret it. You will get the help you need. come on in. You're welcome to come in. So please come on in and join the conversation. In the meantime, I hope you're having a good one, and we'll talk again later. Bye.